You asked for it, so welcome to Volume 2 of our Disney World Nostalgia series. 25 more things we'd bring back in a heartbeat if Disney gave us the keys to the kingdom. Same deal as last time. I'll call out the item, give you the quick backstory, and you tell me in the comments which one would instantly make you book a trip. Number 1. West Center Street on Main Street, USA in Magic Kingdom. West Center Street was that quiet little side street that felt like a secret oasis from the crowds. It ran alongside the Emporium with tucked-away storefront charm you only noticed if you wandered. In 2001, it disappeared when the Emporium expanded, and Main Street lost one of its best hidden breather spots. Number 2. Kitchen Kabaret in EPCOT. This was peak classic EPCOT edutainment, audio animatronics, nutrition jokes, and a theme song that lodged itself in your brain for life. Kitchen Kabaret opened with EPCOT in 1982, then got replaced in 1994 by Food Rocks, which then made way for Soarin' as the land pavilion shifted tone over time. Even now, it's the blueprint for the kind of charming, unapologetically corny Future World show fans wish would come back. Number 3. The Diamond Horseshoe Revue in Magic Kingdom. Frontierland used to have a full-on saloon-style stage show with singing, comedy, and that come on in, old-time theater energy. The Diamond Horseshoe Revue debuted on opening day in 1971, and for years it made the land feel like more than just a pathway to rides. The space today is used occasionally as a restaurant, and later this year will be used for a new Toy Story show. A permanent live review like the original would still work today, because not every memory has to be attached to a ride vehicle. Number 4. Tangaroa Terrace at Disney's Polynesian Village Resort. Tangaroa Terrace ties back to the resort's early expansion years, when the Poly was still defining its identity beyond the Great Ceremonial House. This was one of those deep-cut Polynesian-era spaces that longtime fans mention like it was a secret level of the resort. The restaurant closed in 1996, and the building has served a number of purposes over the years, including a childcare center. Number 5. Universe of Energy in EPCOT. This pavilion was a massive Future World statement. Huge sets, a moving theater, and the bold confidence that learning could be entertainment. Universe of Energy opened with EPCOT in 1982, later became Ellen's Energy Adventure, and then closed in 2017 as the building transitioned to Cosmic Rewind. Guardians is a blast, but the original vibe was pure old EPCOT. Big, ambitious, and unapologetically educational. Number 6. Tables in Wonderland across Walt Disney World. Tables in Wonderland launched in the late 2000s and offered significant discounts at many table service locations, plus extra perks depending on the era. This program was the dining cheat code for frequent visitors who planned trips around restaurants and actually did the math. Disney ended it in 2021, and for food-focused fans, it felt like losing a tradition as much as losing an attraction. Number 7. Studio Backlot Tour at Disney-MGM Studios. The Studio Backlot Tour was the park's clearest proof that this place once had a working studio mission, not just rides and IP lands. It opened in 1989, and Catastrophe Canyon was the scene that made everyone feel like they'd stumbled onto an action movie set. It officially closed in 2014, and Hollywood Studios has never really replaced that same real studio tour feeling. Number 8. The Mickey Mouse Revue in Magic Kingdom. Fantasyland used to have a packed theater show full of audio animatronic characters that felt like you were sitting inside a classic Disney cartoon. It ran from 1971 to 1980, which makes it one of those opening day era memories only some guests caught firsthand. The wild part is that the entire show moved to Tokyo Disneyland, where it lived on for decades after Florida said goodbye. Mickey's Filler Magic is now located in the Mickey Mouse Revue Theater. And you can still see a piece of the Revue in EPCOT, where the last scene of the Grand Fiesta Tour features the Three Caballeros animatronics from the show. Number 9. Disney's Golf Resort. This was one of Disney World's earliest hotels, built for a resort that was still defining what a Disney vacation even meant. Disney's Golf Resort opened in 1973, later became the Disney Inn, and eventually transitioned into what's now shades of green. The building still exists, but the original Disney-owned golf resort identity is the piece fans miss. Number 10. The Adventurers Club at Pleasure Island in downtown Disney. The Adventurers Club opened in 1989 and became legendary for its in-jokes, running gags, and the kind of humor Disney doesn't really do anymore. This Pleasure Island Staples was a cult classic improv-heavy live experience where the cast members were the attraction, and every visit felt different. It closed in 2008 when Pleasure Island's original concept ended, and Kungaloosh is still a secret handshake for fans. Quick interruption before we go deeper into this rundown. If this video is bringing back fond memories, please hit like and subscribe because I have a ton of Disney World nostalgia content in the works. Number 11. Honey, I Shrunk the Kids movie set adventure at Disney-MGM Studios. The Honey, I Shrunk the Kids movie set adventure opened in the early 1990s and became one of the best let-them-run areas in any park. It was a giant backyard playground where kids got to feel like they'd been shrunk to ant size inside a movie set. It eventually closed in 2016 to make way for Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, and Disney still hasn't replaced it with enough big themed play spaces. Number 12. L'Originale Alfredo di Roma. Ristorante in EPCOT's Italy Pavilion. EPCOT's early dining era had restaurants that felt like real destination experiences, not just a place to sit down. This opening day restaurant is remembered as part of that World Showcase identity, when name recognition and atmosphere were the whole point. In 2007, it was replaced by Tutto Italia Ristorante, and the Alfredo name became a piece of EPCOT dining history. Number 13. Mickey's Birthdayland in Magic Kingdom. Mickey's Birthdayland opened in 1988, then later shifted into Mickey's Starland as it became less strictly birthday-themed. This was the late 80s corner of the park that turned into a full-on Mickey celebration zone, heavy on characters and kid energy. The entire area eventually transformed again into Storybook Circus during the new Fantasyland era. Number 14. Snow White's Scary Adventures in Magic Kingdom. This opening day attraction was old-school Fantasyland. Practical sets, dramatic scenes, and a ride that didn't care if a princess story got genuinely spooky. Snow White's Scary Adventures ran for decades and became a true classic dark ride checkpoint for longtime visitors. It closed in 2012 to make way for Princess Fairy Tale Hall in the new Fantasyland project. Number 15. Cranium Command in EPCOT's Wonders of Life. Cranium Command opened in 1989, which is why it feels like a perfect time capsule of that late 80s EPCOT tone. It turned the inside of a kid's brain into a comedy show, with Buzzy and General Knowledge running a chaotic control room. The show closed in 2007 when Wonders of Life stopped operating full-time, and EPCOT lost a uniquely weird original. Number 16. Tomorrowland Arcade in Magic Kingdom. Tomorrowland Arcade opened as part of the new Tomorrowland in 1995 and wasn't a headliner, but it was a lifesaver for families and anyone who needed a quiet corner to regroup. This spot at the conclusion of Space Mountain was the perfect AC break spot when your group needed 5 minutes of reset without leaving Tomorrowland. It closed in 2015 and is now the Tomorrowland Launch Depot, but it's missed because small experiences like this are what made days feel easier. Number 17. Soundstage Restaurant in Disney-MGM Studios. Old studios had more soundstage flavor baked into everyday things, and this counter-service spot fit that original identity. It was also a reliable, air-conditioned meal stop back when studios needed more places to sit and cool off. It closed in 1998 as the surrounding animation courtyard area transitioned toward new uses and entertainment offerings. Number 18. CommuniCore in EPCOT. This was Future World's original Walk Through the Future hub. Exhibits, tech demos, and rotating sponsors showing off what's next. CommuniCore opened in 1982 and was split into East and West, framing the central spine behind Spaceship Earth. In 1994, it became Innoventions, but the original CommuniCore name is still the one longtime EPCOT fans say with reverence. Much of the buildings that CommuniCore once occupied have since been removed as part of the Future World reimagining of the past decade. Number 19. If You Had Wings in Magic Kingdom. If You Had Wings was a Tomorrowland Omnimover dark ride sponsored by Eastern Airlines, and it somehow made a travel ad into a beloved classic. It featured an earworm theme song and Caribbean travel destinations, spotlighting places served by Eastern. It opened in 1972, then evolved through multiple sponsor-driven versions before the space eventually became Buzz Lightyear's Space Ranger spin. Number 20. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles at Disney-MGM Studios. The early 90s were a different universe, and Disney actually hosted live appearances by the Ninja Turtles during that era. It felt like the park was plugged into whatever pop culture was exploding at the moment, even if it wasn't Disney-owned. And that kind of time capsule crossover energy is something the modern parks barely touch. Number 21. Discovery Riverboats in Disney's Animal Kingdom. The Discovery Riverboats opened with Animal Kingdom in 1998 and then closed in 1999, making it one of Disney World's shortest experiences. This was a scenic boat ride meant to be both a relaxing attraction and a way to see the park's waterways and Tree of Life area. That short lifespan is exactly why fans bring it up. It feels like a lost chapter most guests never got to read. Number 22. Jedi Training Academy in Disney's Hollywood Studios. Located next to Star Tours, this was the ultimate kid moment. Train with a lightsaber, then step onto a stage and face off against Star Wars villains. Jedi Training Academy evolved over time into a bigger, more story-driven presentation, and it became a rite of passage for families. It stopped running in 2020 and never returned, leaving a big interactive hole that Galaxy's Edge doesn't quite fill the same way. Number 23. Writer's Stop in Disney's Hollywood Studios. Writer's Stop was part bookstore, part coffee spot, and part secret quiet lounge for anyone who needed a break from the park's chaos. The vibe was cozy in a way Hollywood Studios doesn't really offer anymore. Soft lighting, AC, and a place to just exist. It closed in 2016 during the park's big transformation era, being replaced by Baseline Tap House, and fans still talk about it like it was a hidden gem. Number 24. Davy Crockett's Explorer Canoes in Magic Kingdom. Magic Kingdom once had guest-paddled canoes on the rivers of America, which is the most frontier core concept imaginable. The Explorer Canoes opened in 1971, and the whole attraction was basically teamwork, scenery, and a little bit of accidental exercise. The attraction closed in the early 1990s, and the entire Rivers of America R is now gone, which makes the canoes a deep-cut memory for longtime guests. Number 25. SpectroMagic in Magic Kingdom. SpectroMagic owned Main Street with fiber optics, glowing floats, and a soundtrack that still instantly time travels people back to childhood. It debuted in 1991, ended in 1999, returned in 2001, and finally wrapped in 2010, so it spans multiple generations of Disney trips. And if you're a SpectroMagic person, you're a SpectroMagic person forever. That's Volume 2, and if your nostalgia meter isn't maxed out right now, you might actually be too emotionally stable for Disney World fandom. Drop your number 1 pick from this list in the comments. And if you want Volume 3, tell me the most obscure thing you missed that only real longtime fans would remember.